Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. In this episode, it's another re-release where we're talking about the importance of prioritizing self-care, especially as we approach the holiday season. It's very important that you remember how important it is to take care of yourself. When to know when your social battery is running out, when to know that you need to pour into your self-care bank account. In this episode, I'm sharing some tips and ideas on how to take time for yourself and how you can start prioritizing your self-care and refill your self-care bank account. Again, you can do this during the holiday season and even after. The important thing is that you continue to keep on depositing into your self-care bank account. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you won't be operating at your highest frequency when dealing with others. So pour into yourself and prioritize self-care. So let's take a listen to this episode. Hey everyone, it's your girl Tanya, and you're listening to the Tea with Tanya podcast, where we talk all things self-love, wellness, personal development with drops of public health stories. Now guys, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you for all of you who listened to season 1, episode 1. You guys exceeded any expectations that I may have had. You guys left your reviews, you guys DM'd me on Instagram, sent me messages on WhatsApp. You had some thought, had some paragraphs of reviews or suggestions and so many different things. And I want to thank you guys really and truly for doing that. You guys have given me the boost to continue this podcasting journey. And I couldn't have felt that way without you guys' feedback, to be honest. So I can't say thank you enough. But of course, make sure you like, review, subscribe, all these different things, because you're going to help me. Especially if you're listening to my podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, please guys, be sure to rate me, give me that 5-star, leave a comment, because that's going to help to boost your girl in this podcast world, okay? So I just want to say again, thank you guys. Now, let's see what's brewing in the tea tasting room, okay? So today I want to talk about self-care. And of course, I want to give you some ideas or tips on how you can prioritize yourself and practice self-care. Now guys, for me, of course, when we think about self-care, it can mean so many different things, to be honest with you. And for me, it's just about taking care of myself so that I can have enough fuel to pump into others, or have enough in my self-care account that I can deposit into somebody else. But of course, I wouldn't be me if I didn't do a little research or digging to find a meaning of what self-care means. And this is one that I found that, in a sense, I kind of resonated with. And it says, self-care means taking care of yourself so that you can be healthy, you can be well, you can do your job, you can help and care for others, and you can do all things you need to and want to accomplish in a day. I want to tell you guys, when I decided to really and truly take my self-care seriously, for me, and I can be honest, I'm a bit embarrassed to even say this, but I can be honest, that's why we're here in the tea tasting room. It's again, social media has a lot of influence on some of the things that we do. Well, at the time for me, my naive self got smart. But, I'd be like, oh yeah, let me go Sundays after brunch. Let me go brunch with some girlfriends, sip on some mimosas. Let me go get waxed, and let me go get my eyebrows done, my nails, mani pedi, get my hair, all these different things. Let me go do some retail therapy. And guys, please note, I'm not saying that this is not part of self-care. All these acts are actually part of self-care. But for me, because my brain can think 1,000 things in 5 to 10 seconds. So let me tell you when I decided to really and truly take self-care seriously, and when I realized I had to. So, I went to this new dentist. This is like 1.5 to 2 years. So this is how far back I'm going, guys. And, had a new dentist, had, new dental insurance, and went to the dentist. And of course, when you're seeing a new dentist, they got to run the x-ray and check your gums and do all these things. And I think it was probably the dental hygienist that was performing the tests and these different things. And at the end, her and then my dentist at the time, they came in and they were like, you have to, well, of course, you got to do some extractions. You got to get implants, a bridge, crown, look, I had like basically I'm building a freaking new mouth, if you want to say that. You know what I mean? I'm probably over exaggerating, but not by much. Yeah, so I was like, wow, she said that, some parts of my mouth, my gum is really good. The other parts, I gotta get treated because, that could be signs for early periodontal disease. I think that's what it was. I hope I'm not saying the wrong thing. And I'm sitting in the chair and I'm saying, wow, Tanya, here you are talking about, your idea of what self-care really and truly was at the time. And your mouth is over here falling apart. Like, that's legit what I said to myself, word for word. I'm like, your mouth is legit falling apart, and here you are. You got to get it together. And it was in that moment, it's like, you know what? If I'm going to actually say I'm going to take care of myself, my oral health is also part of me taking care of myself, right? Going to see my OBGYN is me taking care of myself. Going to see my primary care physician, another incident that I had with him was, when you go to the doctor, you do your different blood work and everything, and he's telling me, oh, your cholesterol is on the borderline of you being too high. And I was like, wow, and the true Caribbean or Antigua, I was like, wow, you know what? And forgot from me, guys, I love me some eggs. He from the Caribbean, they're like, oh, girl, you need to stop. Right away, my sister's like, you know what? You need to stop eating eggs. I'm like, girl, I got to have my 3-4 eggs a day. So, granted, I'll tell you this right now, guys, eating a lot of eggs is not the only reason as to why your cholesterol can get high. I'm not going to get into that today, but I'm telling you right now, that's not the only way to get your cholesterol high. There's so many other foods that we eat, but again, not today. And in that moment, again, in that cheer, I was like, wow, Tanya, here you are. You need to get stock of your health. Yeah, you're talking about your idea of self-care was on the surface, but look at it, your borderline for having high cholesterol and some other thing, and, your mouth is falling apart. Like, get it together. And that was when I decided, I'm like, you know what, I really and truly need to get my life together and really and truly take myself seriously, in addition to the, waxing, getting my hair done, treating myself to a nice meal and these different things. I had to go beneath the surface and make sure that my physical health, as far as my, like my physical, my oral, and these different things were intact. I even started like my spiritual journey because, I grew up in the church, but I started tapping into that even more. And then, of course, my mental health, because, mental health really and truly is important. And I know something when we talk about self-care, I tend, or at the time, I was like, mental health wasn't really on my radar. And, I made the brave step or the bold step to start therapy, last year. And let me tell you, it's one of my greatest decisions that I ever made. I'm learning to become a better person. So let me tell you, my therapy sessions now are considered part of my self-care. So every Friday at 6 p.m., I'm going to be in that session, taking care of myself. That's the one day of the week when I'm really and truly diving into my mental health in that capacity. Of course, I'm doing other things in the day. So I remember a question that my therapist asked me one time, and it was like, how do you know when you need self-care? What are your warning signs? And let me tell you guys, for me, I'm sure some of you can relate to this. When I'm really starting, because let me tell you, when I'm, like, do you get snappy? Are you easily frustrated? That's me. When I'm really like burnt out, and I think that's like on the borderline, or that's me being burnt out. I'm tired, or I start getting like flu-like symptoms. It's not really the flu, but you're so exhausted, your body starts feeling fatigued. You're probably having a little sniffles, because that's for me, that's when I can tell, wow, Tanya, it's time for you to go take a nap, it's time for you to take a shower, go into bed and not do anything that has to do with you thinking or anything. Just relax, read a book, or just watch TV, or just go to sleep. Another question is, what type of care do you need? Do you need a nap? Do you need to eat? These different things. These are two questions that, I was asked, and I keep making sure I try to answer on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? So guys, you just have to make sure that when we're thinking of self-care, in addition to the surface things that we think self-care is, we got to dig deep and make sure that, we're taking care of our physical health. As women's health, making sure that everything is right when it comes to our body and a whole. Because I feel like for me, the more I'm able to take care of myself, is the more I'm able to be in tune with my body. So if something feels out of whack or doesn't feel right, I can say, you know what, this is strange. Let me go see my doctor. Let me see what's going on to prevent something serious from happening. That's how I look at it or think of it. But guys, I want to talk about things you can do to start prioritizing yourself. What I'm going to list now is some of the things that I do. You may not do everything, but these are what have been working for me. And guys, let me tell you, I was the kind of person, I was going to school full time. I was working 2 jobs. I was leaving from my day job, getting home, which my commute is like almost 2 hours. And so by the time I get home, it's just enough time for me to shower, eat, take a nap before going to my night job. So it was like a revolving door for me. But the last couple of weeks, I've had the luxury of just coming home from one job, being able to center myself and do some of the things that I was doing in the past, but had to fall off the wagon because, you know what, I am human. But anyhow, let's get into it. So here are some things you can start to do to prioritize yourself. You know, you can meditate. That's something that I really enjoy doing. You know, I do it sometimes in the morning or at night. Now that I'm able to have more free time where I don't have to go to a night job like that, I can get up in the morning and spend, let's say, 5 minutes also meditating. And meditation can be different for everyone. You know, for me, it's spending time with the word. Like, you know, I'm reading a scripture. Let me tell you, like the Bible app, perfect. You can spend 5 minutes on the Bible app. Oh, look at me shutting them out. But you know, because they have this new feature where you can do your story. You have a prayer. You have someone basically explaining the scripture for the day. You read a passage, you know, so that in a sense can be 5 minutes. So that's what I do sometimes. Where I just find a scripture if I'm in a particular book of the Bible, that's what I do. You know, so when I'm getting up, so the first thing that I do when I get up, let me back up before my meditation. You know, I'm getting up and I'm taking some deep breaths, thanking the Creator for a new day, for the activity of my limbs, for health, for strength, to be able to breathe in and out. That's what I do. And then I get into my meditation, which I get into the word, or sometimes I'm listening to some gospel music, which one of my favorite songs that I'm listening to every morning, I'm thinking it's an overkill right now, is by Israel Horton. It's called To Worship You I Live. That's my song during my meditation. What else do? I journal. So you can journal. I do like journaling. You know, I kind of moved away from journaling in the morning to journaling at night now because I feel like, you know, I'll have more stuff for me to talk about. But if I do journal in the morning, I'm just writing down, you know, all 3 things that I would like to happen that would make my day go good, if that makes sense. So you can do gratitude journaling. You know, what are you grateful for? Like, make it like a brain dump. Again, you can do it in the morning, you can do it at night. I have not been doing it at night because it gives me more time to brain dump and write a lot. But I do try to write, you know, at least 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for in the morning, and 3 to 5 things that would make the day go by smoothly. Obviously, realistic things. Even having a healthy meal for me, because my appetite sometimes I think is non-existent. So I tend to make sure that I'm eating right, having a healthy meal. You know, I haven't really had junk food. Let's just say I don't consider Chick-fil-A junk food. But I haven't really had, like, you know, like McDonald's, Burger King. I haven't had like junk food like that in a while. I dabble in some, or I nibble on some Chick-fil-A in a while. And of course, pizza. I gotta have my pizza every week. That's like my meal. Every Friday or whatever day I feel like having it, I'm gonna have pizza because that's one of my favorite foods. So pizza is gonna be eaten every week. And, you know, that's my treat. That's part of my self-care. But definitely I try to have a healthy meal, or try to make sure I'm meal prepping. That's a big thing. Make sure I'm eating 3 square meals a day because, again, like I said, my appetite is non-existent. So as part of my self-care is making sure that I'm eating healthy, making sure that I'm eating meals in a day to give me that nutrition and energy that I need. What else do I do? You know, write out your goals. You know, I like to write. If I don't write something on paper, I feel like it's not going to come out. And I feel like sometimes for me, I haven't been doing good at writing my goals. It's all in my head, and then, you know, when it gets in your head, it starts getting mixed up because it's like, okay, what goal is this for? So really and truly try to practice writing your goals out because it tends to bring clarity, and most times you always get to accomplish your goal when you write things out. Another thing that I like to do, because guys, you'll come to find out, which I'm probably telling you guys now, the bathroom is one of my favorite places in my house or just in anywhere, because I tend to talk to myself in the mirror. And that's something you guys should do when it comes to self-care. Look in that mirror, affirm yourself. You know, just repeat some affirmations and look yourself in the eye and say, you know, I am beautiful, I am smart. You know, these different types of affirmation. And that's something that I do anytime I pass the mirror. Doesn't matter, even if I'm at work and I'm using the bathroom. Anytime I see a mirror, at least repeating 1 or 2 affirmations to myself. You know, because as you start saying things to yourself, you start believing it and things start becoming what you say. I do read. I try to read at least 15 pages of a book that I'm reading per night because I think it makes me, or helps me to finish a book faster. You know, reading, my library skills teacher back in high school said reading is fundamental and it broadens your horizon. And for some reason, that reading broadens your horizon, that phrase has stuck with me ever since. I don't know why, I guess for whatever reason, but read, maybe learn a skill, whatever it is. You know, we're all in quarantine to some extent. You know, you can learn to bake, you can learn to do something. You know, what else I want to tell you guys? Turn off social media. No, I haven't been able to do that, I'm going to be honest. But what I've been doing the last few weeks, well, at least 2 weeks now, I've been limiting my time on social media. So I put like a timer of how long I should be on each app. And let me tell you guys, my screen time went down drastically. Sometimes I found myself, I'm not going to lie, I have, let's say my 2 hour, supposed to have 2 hours on Instagram. And sometimes I find myself going over that. Like, I use up the full 2 hours and then it's like, okay, you're shut out, or it asks you, do you need more time? And I find myself adding more time sometimes, but I'm doing better at that because I really do. I'm finding out now that when I'm on my phone before bed, it's harder for me to fall asleep, or I don't have a peaceful night, if that makes sense to you guys. So you can you limit yourself on how many screen time you have. Now, I'm a TV junkie, so I cannot get rid of TV yet, but I'm working on it. So this is what I do at night. I journal, meditate, reflect on the day, read a few pages of the book, 15 pages, and then the TV is the last thing that I have because I'm watching an episode of one of my shows, and then because I just can't get rid of my TV yet. So yes, let me recap because I feel like I've been rambling. So let me recap. We're talking today about ways you can prioritize yourself and practice self-care. So I spoke about earlier how my journey with my oral health is what opened my eyes to really and truly believing or realizing that I need to practice self-care. And of course, guys, but we're all supposed to be inside in the sense, but going out for brunch, treating yourself to a movie, which I doubt any movie cinema is open right now, retail therapy, getting your hair done, waxing, mani-pedi, all these are part of self-care, but just be mindful that when you're thinking about self-care as well, you're thinking about it beneath the surface. Making sure your oral health, making sure when it comes to women's health, you want to make sure that your vaginal health is good. You want to make sure that everything is good physically, spiritually, and of course mentally. Everyone is not really open to the idea of seeing a therapist, but I'm sure there's someone you can talk to, but let's find a way to manage your mental health. Because as my therapist said to me, because I'm recording this episode on a Friday, she was like, your mental health really and truly is important and you need to make it a priority. You know what I mean? So then and therefore make sure that you find a way to make sure that you're practicing good mental health. And then I spoke about things you can start to do to prioritize yourself. We said meditate, more meditation, that can look different for you. For me, get into the word in the morning or at night sometimes. I read a scripture, reflect, and then, I'm out here in the morning basically thanking God for, waking me up, giving me the activity of my limbs, making me my right mind, giving me the opportunity to take a deep breath. Of course, I'll drink a glass of lemon water. That's some things that I do. I spoke about journaling. So you're going to meditate and you're going to journal. You can create your own gratitude journal. You can talk about things that you're thankful for. You can brain dump, whether it be in the morning or at night, about whatever it is that you want to talk about, you want to let out. Just make sure you journal that. We spoke about writing out your goals, because when you write your goals out, that brings clarity, and oftentimes, your goals do come to fruition when you do that. I also mentioned having a healthy meal, or just having a meal, or 3 meals in a day, 2, whatever it is, just having a healthy or a full meal. That to me is self-care. And I guess for me, because again, my appetite is not that great, so it is a priority for me to make sure that I am having a healthy meal. But of course, I'm going to be sprinkling in my Chick-fil-A and my pizza because those are just my fave. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Like I said, anytime you see a mirror, for me, it's usually my bathroom, but wherever I am and I see a mirror, I'm always repeating some form of affirmation to myself, because again, I believe life and death is in the power of the tongue. So, as you affirm yourself, you start believing, and that will give you the confidence that you need. I also mentioned that you can read, pick up a book. Again, reading would definitely broaden your horizon. You can learn something new, or you can learn a new skill, because again, we're all inside trying to find something to do with this quarantine situation. So you can also learn a skill. And I said, turn off social media. Now, I don't have the ability to completely turn social media off. I'm not there yet in my growth. So what I've been doing is I've been limiting myself to 2 hours a day to social media. I have added minutes before, but, that's some things that I do because I realize that, being on my phone right before I go to bed, it just doesn't make me sleep well. So that's what I do. So again, meditate, have a healthy meal, journal, write out your goals, talk to yourself in the mirror, read, learn a skill, and turn off social media. So those are all the tips that I have for you guys. I'll probably talk about this another time, even in depth, but that's all basically what I do. And all the things that I think you can do to prioritize self-care. And of course, don't forget to smile. And this is coming from someone who I really smile, but really and truly just smile. That's going to build your confidence. So definitely try to add a smile daily. So as I'm getting ready to wrap up, guys, because I know I've been rambling, I do speak fast, but definitely make sure that you're prioritizing your self-care. And like I said, getting our nails done, our hair and everything, that is part of self-care, but make sure that we are taking care of our physical health on a real, guys. So then that way, when we are in tune with who we are or how our bodies function, we can know that, hey, if something doesn't seem right, we know, what, I need to go see my doctor. I need to go do XYZ to make sure that I'm having, I'm achieving optimal health. So definitely make sure that you're practicing, your physical health, your spiritual, your mental. And of course, these are some ways that you can prioritize your self-care, like what I said earlier. To be honest, guys, these things that I listed about meditating, journaling, having a healthy meal, write out your goals, talk to yourself in the mirror, turn off social media, read, whatever, all these things can be done 10, 15 minutes in a day. It doesn't even take that long. You know what? You're really and truly taking time out for yourself. So it can be 10 minutes tops. Because you're probably thinking, oh, she's listening to all these things. Who have time? All this thing can happen in 10 minutes. I'm not saying for you to do everything, but you just try to do at least as much as you possibly can with the things that I listed. I'm going to stop rambling here because, me, I'm trying to make sure I'm not boring you guys. That's my idea of self-care. This is what I do for my self-care. There are days when I fall off the wagon because I just can't be bothered, but I've been trying to be more consistent and I've been seeing results. So I hope you guys found these valuable tips. And as usual, make sure you guys send me a message, share this podcast so we can you can let me know how you guys feel. But before I go, I do want to try to start this new thing. I don't know. I'll see how long it lasts. But I'm going to tell you what I'm diving into or what I'm feeling right now so that I can close the show. So right now, what I'm into, and every week I'll probably list maybe a TV show, a book, or both, but I'll see. But for today's episode, what I am diving into right now is this show called Bull. It shows on CBS. I have been obsessed. I mean, I remember when I first saw the commercial a few years back, but again, being a TV junkie, it was clashing with one of my other shows. And anyway, long story short, it's on CBS Access, and I have been binge watching the last few weeks. And let me tell you, I'm just obsessed with that show. So in case you want to check out the new show, you're looking for something to binge, you can check out Bull. It's a pretty good show. So that's what I've been diving into. Let me see what else have I been doing. Can't think of anything else, but make sure you guys, like I said, you can check out the show Bull, or if you're looking for something else that you want to watch that I haven't watched, you can check out Snowfall. Season 5, I think, premiered February 25th. Anyway, never mind, don't quote me, but you should check out the show Bull and Snowfall. That's what I'm getting into right now. All right, guys. So thank you for listening to the Tea with Tanya podcast. I hope you were able to take away something from the tea tasting room. And of course, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and review this podcast. Thank you. And of course, I'll see you on the next episode of the Tea with Tanya podcast. Bye.